you've talked about the quality of stormwater and the detention that you can do, the slowing it down, in the 100-year flood. But and you've shown your pictures. But I remember at the presentation that someone did say that you had other options. These weren't your only. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, absolutely. We explored a number of alternatives, and we're just choosing what we're showing you now based off of some feedback from progress meetings with the Conservancy and our project advisor. And we did explore 3 alternatives for each site. The first in William, 415 West Washington, and 721 North Main. And they each incorporate some similar elements, but in different ways, and the site will serve slightly different functions. For example, 415 West Washington, there are some existing buildings there.
Right.
I know at least one of them is considered to be a historic structure. So we made sure to explore alternatives that keep those buildings and how we could incorporate that into the Greenway itself.
So this paper, your message, the thesis that you're writing, will there be a copy given to the Conservancy? So this will be a file for others, for any of those who are interested in reading it, that this will be available then?
Oh, yes, we will give a copy to the Conservancy when it's done. And for anyone who is a alum, it's also on deep blue.
Oh, okay. All right. And another question I have is, people talk about safety issues, rails, trails, and safety issues. Are there concerns that you may have?
There are always concerns when there are, moving trains and people close by. But I think that, we've tried to deal with that by putting in the fence and the partial wall. We use the wall mainly in areas where there isn't enough room for the more separation. And then vegetation also helps with that, in that separation. But, particularly when where the Greenway crosses streets, we have to pay special attention to how they're going to cross and the types of crossings and how that works out.
Right. I did a little looking up, and there are apparently 62 rails with trails, and it is not an issue. Safety is not an issue. And if you look at Gallup Park, for goodness sakes, the train goes right through there, so that shouldn't be. And if you could speak a little bit more about the commercial benefits. The Trust for Public Land makes a point of saying that, when this unsightly, unfriendly is turned into something lovely, businesses want to come, homes want to come, and edge development can kind of be sensitive to that and go along with that. Did you?
Well, if we actually we'll speak to that in our last part of our presentation. We have a map that shows that.
Okay.
So maybe if we can
bring that up. Yes,
talk about our
yes,
sort of
please.
next steps and how we're going to get to that point.
Yes, good.
Okay. Yeah, in all of our conversations with the Conservancy and all of our presentations and, going through this entire process, everybody should realize that this is would need to be a phased process. And what you can see here is kind of our phasing diagram. And Phase 1, which is the red line, would be road options, which is just using sidewalks, existing bike routes, and then adding signage or stencils to the sidewalks. And this is really important just for awareness and publicity for the Greenway. And again, like we did for the 3 parcels, we came up with several other options for the road. This was just our preferred option because it follows the route of the desired Greenway the closest and comes in the closest contact to the 3 parcels. Phase 2, there in the blue, would be to actually acquire the 3 parcels that you've seen our plans for, and I know that the Conservancy is actually kind of in the process of this. Phase 3, which is through Greenway actually going in within the railroad right-of-way. Phase 4 is what we were talking about just a minute ago. It's kind of a series of street crossing improvements, bridges, and just other options for street improvements. One way that we kind of looked at all these and made our decisions was actually using a street hierarchy, which, if we can bring that up now just for a second, we looked at the volume of traffic on all of Ann Arbor roads, the high greater than 10,000, an intermediate, and then the low, which is less than 1,000. And whenever we did our street crossing improvements, we based what type we used or proposed based on the volume of traffic.
Okay.
And so then to get back to what you were mentioning earlier, a little bit about how the economic side plays into this and how economic development can be spurred along the Greenway. If we could pull this slide up for just a minute, you can see in the red, this is the Downtown Development Authority's Downtown Transition Zone, which is a part of their future land use plan. And the purpose of this zone is to create a transition between the residential areas to the west and the downtown core. And one of the things that we noticed is how well the Greenway and this zone line up. The Greenway really runs right through the center of this zone. And I think it could serve as an anchor and a green amenity to the transition zone, and it would also be a catalyst for the economic and sustainable development.
Can I just interrupt you for a second? The Allen Creek Greenway Task Force study that was completed in 2007 at the urging of council, they really enabled it, and used the word linchpin, which I thought
Absolutely.
you might like. Yes, that would be a linchpin between core development and floodplain policy. So exactly to your point, yes.
And I think that it wouldn't just be in that area. It could really be along the entire Greenway. I mean, there's numerous case studies that show how greenways attract businesses and attract residents into their areas because, well, it's a great amenity and people want to be around it.
Yes, definitely. Do you want to add anything?
Well, I think we would first of all like to say thank you for.
Before that.
Okay.
Before that, I want to make a point of saying that the mayor spoke quite recently, actually. It was the 16th of March that he spoke after a recent tour of Depot Town. We were looking at the railroad station. And I will quote him. He said, "There will be a Greenway." So I thought that was a wonderful thing for the mayor to say. And furthermore, he said that it will start at 721 North Main. And then he said that they will apply for a grant from the Natural Resources Trust Fund. And that will be matched by the Washtenaw County Parks and Recreation, which I think this is all wonderful for the mayor to be putting forth. And he also talked about a FEMA grant to take care of some of the buildings at 721 that are in the floodway. Mm-hmm. And finally, which, I mean, this is just wonderful, he said that there will be an allocation in the budget, because, you know, the city is now working on the budget to help prepare for this. So, and then to quote the mayor, Mayor Heafji, I asked him some questions through the email, and to quote him in his answer, he said, "We will be presenting all this to City Council in a few weeks." So I think this is very encouraging, and it seems like from what you said, 721 would be a nice place to start. You said that it would be a gateway, really, for the city, which would be a wonderful thing, and fits with the sustainability goals. So it would be very exciting to see within a couple of years some of your ideas implemented. That would be just, that would just be super. Alice, Before we wind up, I was wondering if you can tell people how they can get involved. This is kind of a really fun time to get involved
It certainly
when
is.
things look like they're going to be moving along and people can give their input. How can they do that?
Well, there are many ways because there are many people out there who've been talking about this and working on it for a while. But we should mention just at the first, we do have a website for the Greenway Conservancy.
Do you have a
If you
website?
pull
Maybe
up
we
the
can bring that
slide.
up.
And that's acgreenwayconservancy.org.
Right, if they can bring that up, the Greenway, yes.
And we have, there's a video made by community members that is really heartwarming, and a lot of other information which is intended to let you know what your efforts and your money and your donations might go to.
Yes, so we want to point out that it's a 501c3.
It is a 501c3, which grew out of a grassroots organization, actually, that started several years earlier. And I would just I'd like to say that the money that is donated doesn't necessarily go to acquisition, because the 3 sites we've talked about all evening are already owned by the city and can be viewed as assets to accomplish these complex goals, which the Ariel and Peter and Jordan have described to us. These problems can be viewed as opportunities, and we don't have to start with finding money to get the area, the land, to do that, because we can start with 721 and 415, as we shortened their names, and First and William. So a lot of plans seem to be coming together at one time. We still need lots of support for the community because it is something for the community. And I think that council and the decision makers there, and also at the county, love to have something to talk about that the community supports. So in any way, we'd like to have you engage. There are also, if you look at Friends of the Ann Arbor Greenway, that's the same project that we're talking about, but an earlier group that also has a blog and their own website, and it's just a much more grassroots organization. The 501c3 allows us to collect money and put some money where our project is.
That's tax deductible, so the donations are tax deductible. That's
Right.
A lot of effort to become a 501c3, but it was, I think, well worth it.
It's important.
It's very important. So, would you like to bring up that one chart where you summarize the benefits?
It's up.
Yes, could you bring it up again, please? There we go. And we see all the benefits. Is there any last comment that you would like to make? Any of you, Jordan, Ariel?
I'd just like to thank you for having us on here. I know that this is going to be great publicity for the Conservancy, but for our project, it's great for us to have the opportunity to share what we've done and what we've tried to accomplish over the past year and a half.
Well, I think it's great. It's wonderful to be able to say, I knew Jordan, Ariel, and Peter when, I mean, that's terrific. That's, to get you at the beginning of your careers is very exciting for us. And I thank you, very, very much for all your efforts.
They came right along when the Greenway needed them.
Yes. Did you want to say anything?
I just wanted to thank the Conservancy, but particularly Dr. Jonathan Bulkley and our advisor, Mary Carol Hunter, who've been really amazing support and advisors throughout the project.
Yes. Thank you.
Well, I suppose I'll just say, as a native Ann Arborite, I would absolutely love to see this project go in. I mean, I grew up just around the corner from where the southern end is, and I think it would be a great asset and really help move this community towards its goals.
Yes, I think it would be a beautiful addition to this. So, Jordan, Ariel, Peter, I want to thank you and the best of luck to you in your new career. And Alice, I want to thank you and the members of the board of the Allen Creek Greenway Conservancy for your years of work and your persistence in the pursuit of a vision to enrich our community and improve our environment. And to you, our viewers, I want to thank you for your support. Write to us with your comments and your suggestions. You know, we always welcome other perspectives. Until next time, bye for now.